Okay. Well, all right. Well, we are live now on
Oh,
Twitch. So,
okay. Well, then I'm gonna leave. And
you
then I
can
just
get back out.
asked to come back later, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay.
We'll admit you.
Bye.
Yay. Bye. Oh, I am so ready for this.
Yeah. Only one. Well, actually, you might have started the stream at exactly 9:30, and I just joined at 9:31 or 31:30, whatever time hour it is where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know what hour it is you're at, but just in general. Oh, Mary. Oh, Mary Berry. Oh my gosh, guess what?
What?
So, not so I know I told you that we're moving in August, but
Mm-hmm.
in July, I'm going to my sister's house and we're gonna see Fall Out Boy, and I'm so
Fun,
excited.
fun.
Yeah, I've only loved them for literally over half of my life, but at this
Right.
point, so I've seen them once before when I was in high school at Lollapalooza a long time ago. So it's overdue to see them again.
Yeah.
Can't wait. And oh my gosh, Yuri Cat, you've never seen them? What? Well, the only time I saw them was Lollapalooza, and it was like Lollapalooza is a festival, so like there's multiple stages, and they were like the main stage headliners for that day, or yeah, for that day that we went, and it was super super cool. But it was outdoors, like there were no seats. So this time I'm really excited because we're adults with money, we splurged on the VIP tickets
Of
where you get
course.
like merch and like you have really good seats like right behind the mosh pit basically. And we get a VIP lounge and like a VIP host, which I don't know what they're gonna do. The only thing we don't get is like a meet and greet, which I'm bummed about because I have been in love with Patrick Stump for literally half of my life at this point. I definitely have a thing for gingers. Every single time I'm like the crush that I've had my whole life is like Alistair, Patrick Stump, and now, Jamie Fraser. So my husband, I do love him. So
I was like, your
just funny.
husband's name is not Jamie Fraser.
No, he's from Outlander. Do you not watch Outlander or read it?
No.
Oh, yeah, he's a redhead too. I've never, well, I think I read the first book of Outlander, but I like the show. I've only watched the show. I'm one of those. Someone at work today messaged me and they're like, have you seen The Last of Us? It's about this fungus that makes you a zombie. I'm like, just say less. I already know. They were like, oh, you know? I'm like, yeah, I played the game in 2013 BCE or CE. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
I don't know what
CE.
time it is.
I was like, wait a minute, that's not
Back in
right.
my day, it was AD and BC.
Yeah.
But I like CE and BCE better because they are secular terms.
Yes.
Ahoy,
Hello.
Stansterbot. Is that how you say that? Stansterbot? I don't know.
We should post in all the discords, bitches. Come
Mm.
watch. Especially like
Come
I've dealt with
watch
so
Jen
many
get
fucking
thirsty yet
I've watched
again.
so many Kaidan haters recently, and I'm just like, mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. We are not having it.
I might have been classified
Is
as a
it this
Caden
kind of
hater.
ship? Oh my
This
god, love it.
is this that kind of ship? Yes. Welcome aboard, shipmate.
Win! Oh, yay. Thank you for the
Win.
resub. 6 months. We've been
Oh
affiliate for 6 months.
my god. Commitment.
Right?
We love. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think I could have been classified as a Caden hater listening back to our first episode,
Yeah.
or our second episode, but our first one about Caden.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I
Oh, I
get
call
I
you
get
out
why I
on
felt
it.
like that.
Call
Yeah,
you
I
out
get why
on
I
it.
feel like that for Mass Effect 1, and I still kind of feel like that about Mass Effect 1,
Yeah.
but Mass Effect 3 is a different story. Definitely a different story. Everything is way better, just across the board, but especially for Caden.
Yeah. It is the Kaidan episode, Sadie Cakes.
Another Kaidan lover.
Yes. Oh,
Yes, yes, yes.
yes.
Oh yeah, it is February. I
It
just saw their script.
is. It's
I
our first
forgot it.
episode in February. And February's
Yeah.
a big ass month. Oh, are we still on for Sunday night?
It's Monday night,
No, for you
the
and me.
6th. Oh, what's happening Sunday night?
The MCU Lorecast wanted to know if you and I could come on and talk Marvel
Oh, I
romances.
forgot. Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
doing anything.
All right.
I just forgot. It's not on my calendar.
Wait, what's
what?
Monday night? Oh, Monday night's one of the
Mish-
interviews. Okay,
Mish, yeah. Mish.
Mish, mish.
Mish. What time is it on Sunday?
7 p.m. my time.
Okay. Okay, it's 9 p.m. my time. That will work because everyone will be asleep.
Sweet.
Except for me. Story of my life. I think that's the story of parents' life.
Yes.
Especially stereotypically mother's
Have
life.
to get everything done after child goes to bed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I have everything ready to go. You want to do a podcast?
I would love to do a podcast.
Okay.
I sounded like not excited at all for
Yeah.
that, but I was starting my recording at the same time. I can't do two things at once, apparently.
Let's do a podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Ship, the podcast where we analyze, rate, and review all that the world of video game romances has to offer. I'm Genesis, the girl who is so excited for the whole month of February. We have so many amazing things happening this month.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I just remembered what one of the things are. And yes, I am Bravada, the girl who's also very excited for February, because there's just a whole lot of good things that you will find out about as time goes on.
And the fact that we're covering Mass Effect 3 during the whole month of February. So, yeah, super stoked on that too. Okay, if you are new here, welcome to the beautiful chaos. But you should know that our podcast centers on character and romance analysis and doesn't shy away from exploring the fun of fucking.
Or from the deep emotional connections built between two characters using specific in-game dialogue. So if you want to stay spoiler-free, then this isn't the podcast for you.
So here's your fucking spoiler alert.
Thanks for the spoiler alert, N7. Mass Effect biotic god that you are. Much appreciated. And just like with all of our previous episodes, we'll assume that you have some background knowledge on the game and character in question, but we will be providing context for those of you who may be unfamiliar.
Today, we are still on the Normandy, and the Reapers are still invading the Milky Way. We're talking about the romance between Major Kaidan Alenko and Commander Shepard. Our Shepard today is a femshep, and a lot of the audio clips we're using come from a playthrough where Kaidan was romanced since Mass Effect 1. However, we want to point out that in Mass Effect 3, you can either start a new relationship with him or pick back up a relationship with Kaidan if you romanced someone else in Mass Effect 2. And notably, this is the game where a male shep can romance Kaidan. The differences between Kaidan's romance as femshep and male shep are different enough that we will only be discussing femshep in this episode, and we'll cover male Shepard in another episode later. So let's discuss this hell of a soldier, if I can talk.
Hey, there you are.
Are you flirting with me?
If you have to ask, I'm clearly out of practice. Well, when we've got time, you'll have to let me practice.
my god, he's so adorable. I might fangirl this entire episode, and sorry, not sorry. Kaidan has gotten a major promotion since we last saw him in Mass Effect 2, as in he is now a major, and he commands the first Special Operations Biotic Company. You will first see Kaidan on Earth right before you all must evacuate due to the Reaper invasion. And then he will join Shepard on their mission to recover Prothean data on Mars. Kaidan is very suspicious of Shepard, even a Shepard who has romanced him in past games. He thinks that you're still a puppet for the elusive man.
I think it's an understandable reaction to have, although he should probably be able to see that this is clearly not the case. However, I understand why Kaidan would jump to this conclusion. The medical technology of 2186 might be science fiction to us in 2023, but even then, you can't just bring back people from the dead. I think it's a fair question to wonder if Shepard is some AI within the physical shell versus a bionic human with more artificial bits than not. In this next audio clip, Kaidan and Shepard will remove the helmet off a dead Cerberus operative to see what exactly they are dealing with.
My God. Looks like a husk.
Yeah, not quite. They've definitely done something to him.
And by they, you mean Cerberus? They did this to their own guy? Is this what they did to you?
How can you compare me to him?
Shepard, I don't know what you are, or who. Not since Cerberus rebuilt you. For all I know, you could be their puppet, controlled by the elusive man himself.
Kaidan,
Don't try to explain it. I don't think I'd understand anyway. I just want to know, is the person that I followed to hell and back, the person that I loved, are you still in there? Somewhere.
they didn't change me, Kaidan. Or how I feel about you. But words won't convince you, will they?
Probably not.
I didn't think so. You were always stubborn.
Me?
His laugh is a gift. Oh, I cannot get over how sexy this man's voice is. You have to remember that even if you did romance Kaidan 3 years ago in Mass Effect 1, that was the last time you were romantically involved. He wasn't with you to fight the Collectors, and he had a deep mistrust of Cerberus, as he should. They are in this awkward relationship right now, where they have to work together, and they have a shared history, but neither of them really knows where they stand and how the other one feels. I mean, Kaidan doesn't even know if this Shepard is the same Shepard he fell in love with. Not to mention that the elusive man intentionally manipulated Kaidan into believing Shepard faked their death and didn't bother reaching out to Kaidan, therefore making him believe that Shepard was a willing Cerberus participant.
Yeah, if anyone's the puppet master, it's the elusive man, and we're all his puppets. At least that's what he wants. But here we are, awkwardly yet efficiently killing Cerberus agents, escorting Liara across the compound so we can get the Crucible plans to Admiral Hackett. At the end of the mission on Mars, he will confront the Cerberus gynoid, which, by the way, I was today years old when I found out that there's a female version of Android. Like, did you know that that was what it was?
No.
Makes sense.
Like
Because
you wrote
Anne is like man and like gynecologist, you know, for women, but I've only ever heard them called fembots, which I don't like.
Yeah. I've definitely heard fembot, and I've heard like cyborg and android and like, but I've never heard of a gynoid before. Well, why does that even
Yeah.
fucking matter? Like,
I know.
it's
They
not.
don't have genitalia. They need a gender neutral term for synthetic humans, right? That's some droid. Just droid? I don't know.
No, but a droid is. Oh,
Sapien droid?
I
don't know.
actually. I need to check my Star Wars lore, but I'm pretty sure that Lucas has the term droid like trademarked, and that's why they can't use it.
Oh. Yeah.
But anyways,
so they get what will eventually become Edie's body, and Kaidan gets horribly injured in the confrontation. So he's rushed to Huerta Memorial Hospital on the Citadel, where he somehow survives, but is unconscious for some time. I picked this audio clip because I really like what Shepard says to Kaidan here while he's lying broken in the hospital bed.
Hey, Kaidan. Don't know if you can hear me, but since you can't tell me to get the hell out either, I'm gonna take my chances. Don't die, Kaidan. You've got to fight. We need you in this. Seeing you in action again reminded me you're a hell of a soldier. The Alliance could sure use you. I could use you. You need anything, Doc, let me know. Come on, Kaidan. Fight. And that's an order.
the music. Ugh. That last line. That's an order. Those were the last words that Shepard said to him before she died. Well, okay, if you picked that line. But still, the point stands. Kaidan is knocked out of commission for quite some time. Basically, he improves... Basically, he improves his condition after a main story mission, so visit him often to hear all the dialogue. And also, stop off at the hospital terminal and buy him a gift. It's totally worth it. Udina will offer him a chance to become the second human Spectre. And Kaidan will accept it. He deserves it. Things continue as normal, saving the galaxy, fighting the Reapers, and Kaidan will be recovering. And then Cerberus invades the Citadel. Kaidan is tasked with protecting the counselors, but unbeknownst to him, Udina orchestrated the attack with Cerberus and is aiming to control the council. When Shepard burst out of an elevator, aiming their gun at Udina, Kaidan aims his gun right back.
Yeah, it's a tense moment for sure. Shepard must convince Kaidan that Udina is actually a traitor, that this is not an easy feat. The outcome of this tense interaction depends on a number of factors, like past interactions with Kaidan, your morality score, etc. But he will either be talked down or be shot dead here. If he is talked down, Kaidan will be forced to shoot Udina if you're not quick enough with the Renegade Interrupt. Obviously, we are convincing Kaidan that Udina is behind this attack and not killing him because we're romancing him. He kind of has to be alive. With the amount of opportunities for Kaidan and Ashley to die, you'd think BioWare really doesn't want you to romance them. Even if he lives, you can just make him stay on the Citadel as a war asset. We're bringing him on the ship, though.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Kaidan, hey, I wondered where you went. What's up?
I'm trying to wrap my head around what just happened.
You sound angry.
No, just not used to staring down the gun of someone I've worked with so closely. How it all went down, it's got me... I don't know.
Okay, talk to me. Let's have it.
If I hadn't backed down first, I feel like you would have taken me out.
I trusted you, and I knew you'd come around. That's all that matters. Main thing is we stopped the coup and Cerberus is off the Citadel.
Yeah, but sometimes the way a thing goes down does matter, Shepard. Later when you have to live with yourself. Knowing that you acted with integrity And it matters.
Okay, so I'll tangent here for a second just because I think it's kind of interesting to go back and watch these. If you let your squad mate kill Kaidan instead, it leads to some very interesting dialogue. I watched one where you romance Kaidan in one, then romance Garrus, and then have Garrus shoot Kaidan. I'm like, my current lover just killed my ex. That's not good. And then I've also seen it where Javik kills him. And Javik is a cold-hearted asshole. He's like, he meant nothing. Let's move on. And I'm like, no. So,
Oh my god.
it's so bad.
It's hard with these moments with these audio clips because there's so many different variations. And I
Mhm.
just liked what he said about it matters how a thing goes down. Like you have to act with integrity. I just liked what he said there, which is why I picked that one. But yeah, there's so many. It can get so messy, like a telenovela with Garrus and Kaidan. Oh my god.
It can. Oh, but I love it. So, like you said, Kaidan strives to always act with integrity. That is one of his hallmark traits. He is a consummate professional, and up until the third game, he has to be reminded to relax. He is a bit more casual by the time that the Reapers are destroying the galaxy. Go figure. The apocalypse has a certain way of putting things into perspective. When he comes aboard the Normandy, he will spend his time in the Starboard Observation Lounge. It's the same room that Samara used to use. Oh, man. Sorry, I'm like dying over here and losing my voice. That's not good. When he comes aboard the Normandy, he will spend his time on the Starboard Observation Lounge, in the same room that Samara used to use. He looks out into the endless abyss of space and contemplates how it's easy to forget what kind of nightmare people are living through because of the Reaper invasion. He will admit that his mother is alone and that his father is listed as missing in action and presumed dead. No one is unscathed. Everyone has been touched by tragedy in the Milky Way. It makes Shepard's mission so much more real to hear the crewmates talk about their family and friends.
Yeah, it's easy to forget what's at stake when you're drifting around space, like what Kaidan said. Eventually in the game, you'll do a mission where you can save some Cerberus scientists and Jacob Taylor. And afterwards, Kaidan will talk with Shepard about their insight into Cerberus. He can't seem to wrap his head around the fact that the scientists were good people, but Cerberus is a bad organization. And he wonders how the elusive man went from an ally to an enemy. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter, but it says a lot about Kaidan that he would wonder about that in the first place. It shows a lot of empathy and compassion to even see the humanity in your adversary.
At this point, you still have not fully reconciled with Kaidan, even if you've romanced him in the past. Or if you haven't, the romance hasn't even really started yet. He'll invite you to lunch on the Citadel to have what he calls a sanity check. The two will have a nice date at a restaurant, the Apollo Cafe, that still somehow has a halfway decent menu, despite the circumstances. It's a cute break from all the shit going down all over the galaxy. This is also where you can reestablish your relationship with Kaidan, who is really, really thrilled to be loved back.
The war isn't the only thing keeping me up at night. I wonder about us.
Us.
I love you, Shepard. I always have. I want to understand what this is between us. and make it real. That's what I want. What do you want?
I can't bury what I feel for you anymore. And I don't want to.
And that makes me so happy. And there are benefits to that happiness.
Little smooch at the end. So cute. I mean, if you guys have listened to our previous Kaidan episodes, specifically the first one, which was our episode 2, I was definitely in the camp of, oh, Kaidan's boring in Mass Effect 1. And I still stand by that, honestly. I had never watched his romance scenes from Mass Effect 3, though, until now for this episode. And, like, wow. I mean, just like with most of the romance options, they really improved in Mass Effect 3, especially considering what we get in the glorious Citadel DLC. But we'll be talking about those scenes in a separate episode. Like we said in Liara's episode, we're not going to summarize the whole game. There are a ton of choices you can make, and we aren't here to walk you through all of them, just the ones that involve romancing Major Alenko. And just like with all romance options, the culmination scene comes near the end of the game.
But before we get to that, we need to take a mid break so we can hear from some of our sponsors, listen to some fun facts, and thank our patrons. So let's go to the mid break dance. All right. It is fun facts time. We've mentioned that Kaidan is from Canada and is most likely of Ukrainian origin given his surname. But did you know that the word Kaidan means shackles in Ukrainian? I'm not sure if BioWare chose this name to signify anything for Kaidan. Is he shackled to his biotic abilities and the pain that they bring? Is he shackled to his duty as an Alliance Marine? Is he shackled to my bed because he likes it rough? I mean, who knows? It could just be a coincidence that they named him that.
Oh my gosh. I just, like right before you said it, saw it. That's hilarious. I should have known. Well, one thing we know for sure is why Kaidan is so attractive. BioWare modeled Kaidan's face off of a Brazilian model named, is it Luciano or Luciano Costa? Costa. There's so many ways to say all these words. Who has even graced us with some appearances where he cosplays as Kaidan. It also helps that he is voiced by Raphael Sparge, who has a beautiful voice, and he also voiced Karth in Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay, Luciano is a gift of a human. Are you kidding me? I love him, and I follow him on Instagram because one dude is like flying, but he is an amazing human. He will show up to cons in full Kaidan armor, and his husband will be dressed up as Shepard. And like I saw this like Instagram, I think it was an Instagram reel where this guy walks up to them and he's crying, going, "You were the first relationship I could be openly gay in." And like, I mean, obviously this person was just like explaining that Kaidan and Bro Shep together was the first time that he felt accepted in a gay relationship. But Luciano just gave him a big hug, and I was just like, God, just thinking about that just makes me want to cry. I'm gonna link his Instagram in the show notes because he is a gift to mankind.
I know it's a lot to ask from celebrities to be that accessible and available to fans, but it's just so great to see when they are, because it really means a lot to us normies who are fans, you know?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Oh, and another gift that we get is from our patrons every month. And so we shout you out in the middle of the show because you guys are amazing. To Toasty and Apollo, Mystios and Win, Bat Knight and Lizzie, Becky and the Cups. You guys are all amazing. Much love. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, as usual. All right, Jen, let's get comfy in the captain's quarters of the Normandy and wait for Kaidan to bring us a drink.
Ooh. Are you sure you're ready for this?
I know you're ready, and that's all
What
that
are you thinking
matters.
about right
Oh, I am ready. I am so ready for this. All right, let's go until the end of time.
What are you thinking about right now?
The good times and the hard times. It's been an unforgettable few years.
I'll never forget that first night we bunked together.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, I was pretty spectacular, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. You're exactly what I need right now, Kate.
I lied. I didn't come here for a quick drink.
You mean a lot to me, Kate. I love you.
I love you too. Until the end of time.
Are you ready for this? Because I am so fucking ready for this. This is 100% personal bias and my own preferences, but there is something so sexy and overtly masculine about this scene. Shepard is straddling Kaidan's hips in this sweet way where you are facing your partner and sitting on the couch together. It's also called the cowgirl position if you need that mental image. This man then grabs you under your ass and just stands up. Do you know how much core strength that takes? How powerful you have to be in order to do that? My God, is it sexy to see him walking Shep into their bedroom, just carrying her while her legs are wrapped around his hips. It is gorgeous. The next thing that we see is the camera panning up from the floor. Both of our undressed bodies are starting to twine together. And damn, Femshep's booty got an upgrade. Then, in such a dommy, mommy moment, Shep shoves Kaidan back onto the bed, and he falls beautifully. This is not the first time that they have played like this, and it shows. There is power to her movements when she throws herself onto him. There is no need for the body crawl. No, this is an I need it now moment. Oh, and I love the foreplay. Don't neglect the body just trying to get to the core. The kissing and the rolling around that they had shows that they had an amazing night together. Okay. Let's also... what?
Time out. Our stream is messed up. I tried to tell you without interrupting you. They can't see us.
They can't see us.
Wait, now it came back. I don't know what happened, but we were just gray boxes. I think they could still hear us. I don't know what happened. It was for the whole time we were talking, our video was off. Oh, no, it went off for a second again. Did you see it?
No, because...
Oh.
Okay. Does that matter? Because what I was trying... Okay, so I know exactly what I did that made that all weird is because when I start getting into sex, chat explodes. And so it makes it really distracting to see the chat going. So I full screened my script so that way it blocked everybody out. But since I'm streaming another open window, it means that it blocked out the window. So that way it was no longer focused on it.
Yeah. They could hear us the whole time. Just couldn't see us. but I didn't know what was happening. So I tried to message you, but because you were full screen, you didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I
Sorry,
heard a
I didn't
little
mean to
beep and I
interrupt
was
you.
like, wait. No, it's okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, continue with the sexy time. I'm sorry.
It
I didn't want
is.
to ruin your groove either.
I know. You should just well, I mean, I have like another, minute of talking to go
I
through,
thought
so it
you were
would have
done,
been.
and I was like, okay, I'll tell her now. And then I saw your huge line of text still, and I'm like, never mind, wait, time out.
All right. Now I have to get all back into the mood. Yeah, scene breaker.
Sorry, now you can talk about his kink level, just like cold, no warm up.
Okay, let's talk about how kinky Kaidan can be. Give me a second.
Wynn called me a clam jammer.
Oh, you are. Y'all are a bunch of clam jammers. That's what it is.
They wanted to see us. I'm sorry.
All right. Okay. Let's also talk a little bit about Kaidan's kink level. My man has long been called boring, and I think someone on this show even called him milquetoast at one point. But I am here to set the record straight. Kaidan has some extra in him. And it's not just me projecting. Have you heard the quickening? There's a deep-seated anger in this man, and it is controlled rage. It is calculated, and it is juicy. And he has in-game canon to reference this to, okay? He has referenced to watching pornography, specifically extranet fetish sites. Okay, going to Pornhub and watching a video here and there is still on the vanilla side to me, but once you start clicking around on the fetish links, oh, honey, welcome to the leather side. There are a few cons to this scene, though. It makes me sad that Liara gets her super cool biotics and mind meldy scene, and Kaidan still doesn't even get an eye flare. He has grown in power and control. And Morton even said that Jack could manipulate fields to have fun. And we all know what Trainer does with her damn toothbrush. So let my human have fun with biotics. Please? Pretty please?
The possibilities are endless, and that's why fan fiction exists. But it would be nice to have a visual. I also want to set the record straight. I called him the human equivalent of an elimination diet, not milk toast. And I definitely stand by that for Mass Effect 1. But Mass Effect 3 is a different story. We know a lot more about him. His character is more well-rounded. But yeah, I liked my my comment on him. Anywho, my favorite part about this scene is Shepard's little giggle when she's like, mm-hmm. Like, I truly cannot get over how freaking cute that little giggle was. See, I have never romanced Kaidan, and I've never heard Shepard be lighthearted and silly like that ever. And I've been playing this game since it came out. I think that's what Kaidan really brings to the table. On the surface, he's quiet and reserved, level-headed and stable, and that's why he comes off as boring, especially in Mass Effect 1. He's had some shit to go down in his life. He's had to deal with trauma, but he's handled his shit and is coping healthily with his trauma. Kaidan's loyalty mission doesn't exist, partly because he wasn't a companion in Mass Effect 2, but also partly because what does he need to fix? He's close with his parents, so there's no daddy issues. He doesn't need to settle a score with a past group he ran with because he's serving with distinction in the military. And there isn't some horrible mistake he needs to help he needs help correcting. So instead of Shepard helping Kaidan, I think Kaidan helps Shepard more, just like Liara. Who else can make her drop her commander facade and giggle like that? No one.
The giggle is so fucking cute. I mean, it's like those are lovers who know each other so well that they don't need to put up the front anymore. Ugh, it's amazing. The end of the road is unfortunately rapidly approaching. It's do or die, and these two soldiers know that no matter what, they have a mission to do. The final push against the Reapers, the final battle in London, is that do or die moment. And just like we said in Liara's episode, you can speak with each of your companions and say a final farewell. They are all great conversations with this group of extraordinary beings that have been with you through it all. Some even through death. And Kaidan, if you've romanced him this whole time, he heard "till death do us part" and said, "Not today, bitch." This is what he'll say to you before you make your last stand and push for the beam.
Guess we're old soldiers. Hey, Shepard?
Sorry, something went wrong. Let's do that again.
Guess we're old soldiers.
No, what the fuck happened? It's coming scratchy to you guys, right?
Yeah, well, to me, but that tells you nothing. I'm sure it's to them too, because you sounded meshed up for a second. It's Maya's fault.
It is.
Get out, Maya. It wouldn't be the first time it actually was Maya's fault.
Hey, Shepard?
Okay, there we go. All right.
Guess we're old soldiers. Hey, Shepard?
Yeah. I guess we are.
We know the score. We know this is goodbye.
When this is over, I'm gonna be waiting for you. You better show up.
Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna fight like hell for the chance to hold you again. But listen, there's things I want to say. And looking back, I have a few regrets, but not many. That's pretty damn amazing, right? Messed up kid that I was, never would have dreamed of the life I've had. And I owe a lot of that to you, you know?
It's been quite a ride.
It sure has. But how are you doing? Scared?
I've got these bastards in my sights, Kaidan. It's them that should be afraid of me.
You're right about that.
So, take care, Major.
I can't lose you again.
Damn it.
Oh.
It's so stupid that I'm so emotionally attached to this. Like, when I was watching it and clipping it earlier, I don't know if you guys could hear it, but it sounds like he's crying.
It sounds like Shepard's crying when she said, "I'm going to be waiting for you. You better be there." Like, it really sounds like she's crying.
She is holding back tears, but you could actually hear the cry in the audio, and I'm like, it fucking breaks me.
I know. Both of them are so great. Something I really loved about this conversation is how the shot was framed and how Kaidan and Shepard stand with each other visually. At first, they're facing each other when they're being very vulnerable in the beginning of this clip. They're using this moment to say what needs to be said to the one they love. Then they turn, stand shoulder to shoulder, and look ahead at the beam and the Reapers in their path. They're both the humans that love one another, and the soldiers assessing the next steps of the mission. This shot is over their shoulders and at their backs, which really help us keep our eyes forward, literally. This conversation is both accepting the possibility that this is goodbye and also determination to fight. It may be goodbye, but it's also good luck. I just really like it. It's such a good moment.
It is. There was one line that I wanted to add as the closer for this episode tonight, but unfortunately, all of my research, and I even tapped a couple of Google goddesses trying to find a clip of this, but I could only find it as a broshep, so I'm going to save it for his episode. But the extended cut, final goodbye, where Shepard puts Kaidan back on the Normandy. And she says, I love you. Always. It is very powerful knowing that this is the last time you are going to see him. The line that I love, and that the one that I have heard as my broshep, is that I need you to survive. I need to know that you're going to be okay. I just couldn't find it as a femshep, so I didn't use it tonight. But I think that's what I would want for him. I need to know that you're going to be okay. And that will give me the strength to go and do what I need to go do next. And what I need to go do next is invite somebody very, very special. That is where we would normally end our show. But tonight, we have a very special guest who is returning to talk about her beloved Kaidan. So, welcome back to the show, Yuri. Come on, get back in here. Make it so I stop crying. Eureka, cat girl.
Hi.
Hi.
Like, I don't
Give me
know.
a moment while I fucking cry
There you
over
go.
here.
Okay, so for reals though, I was tearing up here listening to it too.
It's so
It's just-
good.
It is like the writing is so good and the actors are so good. There's just everything about it. Like, I pretty much know that me talking about this is basically going to be like version 2 of V talking about Alistair.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like really hard not to gush over Kaidan for me.
That is fair. I understand it now. I didn't understand it last time you were on the show. I was like, whatever floats your boat. But now I'm like, I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
Well, there's so
Well, oh,
much
wait.
to it too. Yeah.
I suppose you should, just for anyone who doesn't know who you are, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Yuri Cat, Eureka, depending on where you see me.
And what are your preferred pronouns?
She, her. I have to tell you guys too, I didn't have any wine, so I went like the vodka route, and like this glass was full. And I'm
Full?
just, yeah, I know. Well, I mean, mixed with a rock star.
Oh, okay.
But so I
So
was
you're
just
awake.
like sipping on it, listen, like when Jen was talking about like the sex scene, I was like just sitting here guzzling it. I'm like, stop, slow down.
Oh.
I was like, yes, talk more.
Oh, yeah. It's a good scene. Like, it's not the best that I've seen, and it's pretty high ranking up there for a Mass Effect romance scene. But it's still really good.
Oh my gosh, like because you have the option to not take it further after you straddle him.
Mm-hmm.
And like when she starts to get up and he like pulls her back down just so gently and is like, where are you going? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like,
because doesn't she cuddles instead, right?
Mhm.
I think I saw that version.
I have no idea. I've never taken that
I
option.
saw one where she's sitting on him and then she says like not I don't need that tonight or whatever she says and he says okay just come here and like she just leans her head on his chest and he's like perfectly happy with that too and I'm glad that you brought that up because what a moment, what an example to set for all people, you
Mhm.
know?
Well, I'm like, I'm a hopeless romantic anyway, and I love love. And Kaidan loves her so much, or him. I do, I don't know. I get disappointed with the male romance because I feel like you really lose something by not having that option in the first game. Like
Mm,
male players were really cheated, in my opinion, because
agreed.
They were
there's so much
yeah.
extra.
They didn't even have a gay option until Mass Effect 3, until
I
Legendary
know.
Edition came out and they re-added in Taylor's gay romance, right? Like he was or no,
No.
they didn't do that. So they
Mm-mm.
don't even have an option till 3. Like and it's so and that's not the same if you are a lesbian, you have Liara technically, I guess. She is female enough, humanish, but like gay men are just get the shaft, not literally,
I was like,
until
no, they
Mass Effect
don't.
3.
They
No,
don't get.
they want the shaft,
Yeah, they want the shaft and it was not given to them. And that's
right?
not fair, especially when the
No.
studio is known for being inclusive. They still have a ways to go. And this obviously was a long time ago that they made these games and they have since rectified a lot of that. But, it's worth pointing out because even if you play those games, I mean, everyone plays these games multiple times. They still don't have an option. So it's harder for them to feel more included.
Mhm.
Sorry, I was just looking at the comments. You guys don't have to be concerned. It was not straight vodka.
You're just really hardcore pre-gaming for tomorrow. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what's
Oh,
going
heck
on.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So by the way, we have talked before about your origin story with Mass Effect all the way back on episode 4 because we didn't even know that we were going to have guests on our show yet. So we had no idea. We're like, well, Kaidan's episode number 2. And then I was like, let's have my friend Yuri come on the show and talk about Kaidan. So we quickly threw together an episode on Shiara, the consort. And we just was like, let's talk about how you get to have sex for 2 minutes and then talk to Yuri for about Kaidan for another hour. So if you want more background on Yuri and even more Kaidan love, episode 4 is what you are looking for. And we also did discuss quite a bit about Kaidan today. Was there anything that you learned? Was there anything new?
I don't think no, I didn't actually know about his fetish like researching. And I
So,
have to say, it just kind of makes me love him a little bit more.
right? The fetish extranet sites is actually referenced in Mass Effect 1, which I completely missed until doing more research on him. He's talking to Lorik Keen, the Turian on, what's that planet?
Oh my gosh, the snowy one, Novaria.
Yeah, on Novaria. And he's talking about how there was an Asari in a pinstripe suit and it caused some stirring among all the people there. And then Kaidan's like, oh, well, that sounds like something you'd find on an extranet fetish site. Shepard looks at him and he goes, what? Like, all right. So, I mean, he's looking at Asari porn, which makes sense because he admits to being attracted to Liara in Mass Effect 1. And he said that he would have been down for a threesome if Shepard had talked to him about it before they got to the confrontation scene.
I
Kaidan
don't
is
think I've
kinky.
ever had that conversation either because I never flirt with Liara.
I've had it. I definitely got the confrontation scene. Like my first run through, I was like, yeah, I'm going to flirt with the hot boy and the cute alien girl. Yeah.
So people find this like really hard to wrap their heads around when I mention this, but for my first playthrough and a couple of the subsequent playthroughs after, I always, if I'm going to romance Kaidan, I romance him in the first game. I am completely celibate in the second game. I don't flirt with anyone. I shoot them down right away. Get off my case, Kelly. Yes, I am sad that I had that confrontation with him on Horizon. And then I come back to him in 3 with no other romance happening. And so, like, the only time I've ever seen that confrontation happen in the hospital is when I've seen other people play it, or like when I'm watching like playthroughs online and stuff. I've never personally had it because I just can't even detach from him to do that. And even when I decided I was going to do my Garrus romance, I just didn't romance anybody in the first one because I'm not really interested in Liara, and I'm like, I can't do that to Kaidan. I just can't do it.
Yeah. I do it every time now, and I feel super guilty because my canon femme is Kaidan Garrus. But my canon bro is Liara Jack Kaidan. So, I mean, I romance Kaidan in 1 and 3. That's got to count for something, right?
Right, but I don't know. There's something so beautiful about like her waiting during the second game, and then like instead of having someone come up to your cabin, she walks over and looks at his picture, and just wishing things could be different. Like she picks it up and looks at it, and you're like, same Shepard. I also wish things could be different for you guys.
I feel like Kaidan is FemShep's Liara. The way, like, I mean, Kaidan falls in love with you no matter what. He has that crush from afar, and so does Liara. And they kind of also serve the same kind of purpose in that, like, Kaidan asks how Shepard's doing, and they're both such gentle people. It's like I kept seeing this trope come up when I was doing research for Kaidan. It's called red Oni, blue Oni, and it's like the opposite. One's really calm, one's really it's Ashley and Kaidan basically. It's even reflected in their color of armor that they wear. It's like Ashley's a lot more aggressive, and like they balance each other out really well though. But yeah, Liara is like a blue Oni also. She's just really, and she's literally blue also. But yeah, I don't know. It's they both are so similar in a lot of ways. I mean, different in many, many ways too. But it's just what it reminded me of when I was watching this with Mass Effect 3, like their whole interaction. Something I said in the first episode that we did on Kaidan was that I thought Kaidan was really important for a female Shepherd because he's so introspective and reflective of a person. He's really self-aware, and it's super not common to see a really strong female lead with a male counterpart who's secure in his masculinity, especially when Mass Effect 1 came out, because he's that way even in the first game.
Right.
So he's just all around like positive role model.
That is a line that Shepard says in the first one that never really added up to me. At one point, she's talking to Ashley, and she tells her, she's like, if I want an opinion that comes from the head, I'll go to Kaidan. If I want an opinion that comes from the heart, I come to you. And I'm like, no, there is so much heart behind so many things that Kaidan says. And I do think that he's the type of person that you don't really get to see fully who he is unless you romance him, because he's not willing to be open with just everybody. He's guarded for reason. He's got good reason to be as guarded as he is. But when I think of Kaidan, I don't think of him as being detached from his emotions at all. I think he's very aware. And the amount of times that he tells Shepard that he loves her and that he cares about her, he is just not at all shy about sharing that information. He's very open. You never have to question where you stand with Kaidan. Even when he was upset with her on Horizon, he didn't sugarcoat anything. He let her know exactly where he stood, where his hesitations were, and even, flat out told her right then that he says, I loved you. Like, he doesn't hold any of that back from her. And so I've always thought that was kind of weird. I feel like he's very in tune with his emotions, and he's not ashamed or embarrassed to share them at all.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think anyone's paying attention if they think he's detached. Like, if anything, he's really impressive because he's very in control of his emotions. He has to be as biotic, especially a powerful one. But like also as a military man, and when you first meet Shepard and Kaidan, Shepard's his commanding officer. So he just has really good military bearing, and he has like a very good professionalism. But it's not that he doesn't feel stuff. Like clearly he does. And I just think that's maybe what they meant when they said I'll go to him for the head stuff, because he's not detached from his emotions, but he's able to be analytical in a way that Ashley cannot be. You
And
know,
that's
like
true.
she truly can.
That's true.
So, do you think that there are any key factors that we missed to this, or things that would have brought even more depth to the romance?
I'm not sure about more depth to the romance, but I do agree with you that, like, especially because in Mass Effect, the first one, he teased that, in the bedroom, biotics, like he could use his biotics to make things more fun. I'm like, where's the evidence of that?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
I guess,
because
is
I
there
guess
anything about the romance that you would change? Anything that, if you could redesign the romance, anything that would make it better?
I don't know. It's pretty perfect as it is.
uh, for me, just because I am the resident hornball, I would love to have more opportunities for physical interaction outside of the we're about to fuck before we go die. You know,
Agreed.
we do get to see more of that in the Citadel DLC, yes. But I wish that even just like the little moments when you're going to talk to him in his room, go at least hold his hand or something. Show me something that we're in a relationship together. And, I wish this with all of our Mass Effect companions and romances, but just to be able to walk up and give him a hug and then start the normal dialogue, just to show that, yes, you guys have, you've locked in your romance at this point. You get to give him hugs in between missions,
Take kind of like a Dragon Age approach where you can,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I would like that too.
Isn't there a thing? Oh, but you can't do it with Kaidan because he's not in the second game, really. Isn't it in the second game, like after a certain mission, you can just go up to your cabin and
And like
cuddle with your
cuddle
romance option?
super awkwardly, but yeah.
Super
And
awkwardly, yeah,
and
exactly.
it's not even
They could,
until after a mission, it's after the end of the game. It's after
yeah,
the
it's after the end of
suicide
the
mission.
game. That's right. Which is, yeah, I don't know. That's something that I haven't seen any game where you can choose your romance option. I still have not seen a game that you can do that with very well, like believably well, where you can, where it feels like a real relationship outside of cutscenes as well, if that makes sense.
Origins. Dragon Age Origins.
I don't know, like it can. It just, other than like you can go up and woohoo with them in the camp, it's still not like I want more like stuff happening. They did good. That's the thing that I really love about Dragon Age is I think they have better banter than Mass
I was
Effect.
just going to say that it would be nice to have some banter that related to your relationship, like on the field and stuff.
Mhm.
Because
There's
like
some classic banter
yeah,
in
that's
Mass
some of my
Effect.
favorite parts of Win in
Mhm.
Origins is the things that she'll say, and like how she's trying to explain like the birds and the bees to Alistair and things
Yeah.
like that. Like it's
I'm
wonderful.
so glad someone tried to at least before it happened. But like I feel like Dragon Age has more banter too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just something I noticed when I was playing Legendary Edition the last time was so often like outside of combat, it's pretty quiet and like you'll get some really great things, but I just feel like they talk so much more often in Dragon Age and what they say. They have more like romance related banter as well, where your companions will comment on your relationship or talk to your companion about your relationship. And you don't hear that so much in Mass Effect outside of the Citadel DLC anyway. Like they
I
did.
love that in Inquisition so much that the party members will like even sometimes like poke and make fun of who you're dating, but
Mhm.
in like the good little friendship way. I love it.
That's something Cloudy sent me recently because I guess she hadn't heard it before because she romanced Solus for the first time in Inquisition recently. And Sarah at one point says, like, do you think when he does it, he shouts elven glory? It's the, it's the
Yes.
best. No, we need more of that. I hope we have a lot more of that. I hope we have it just outside of cutscenes, more interaction like that. And, I would love to just be able to hold a hand or like go up, like they have so many interactions where you could pet a horse or a cat or something in the game. It's like, can I caress my lover's cheek or something sweet? I don't know.
Mhm.
Just something
Right.
cute.
One thing I will say, they're like in the archives, I love that for the Kaidan romance so much. The stuff that Liara says to you, like like there's at one point where like Kaidan walks into the other room to check out. They were stuck somewhere and they were trying to get out, right? And Liara's on the computer, and as Kaidan's walking out, the way she looks at Shepard, she's like, the Major has become quite capable. Like, it's just, I love it so much. I'm like, oh, you noticed that too, did you?
Yes. Those are the best. That I feel like more than anything, it's like those little banter moments is what makes it feel real because that's what people would do, you
That's
know?
so true. Or like in when you first see Kaidan in the third game and you're walking with Vega, and after you walk away with Anderson, and Vega asks him, the commander, and the way he turns at her and looks at her like so like just so adoringly. I used to, and they did such a good job of just like writing it all over his face, thinking of all the things they've been through and wondering where things are now. And so the moments where they do that kind of stuff, they do it brilliantly, but I agree that it would be nice to have it more. And it seems like a lot of it was concentrated in the beginning of the game, and you get less of it as time goes on. So I would agree. There definitely could be more of that
I think they're
banter.
perfect. Yeah, I think they're perfect for what they are. But like that formula of flirt, flirt outside of a couple times and then sex scene at the end, like I just wish that would change a little bit. I know they can't obviously do it for these romances, but someday maybe they'll have. I would like it to start earlier in the game so you have more
So
time to
you
be in a
have more sex
relationship.
scenes?
Yeah, so we have more than one. That would be nice. But not necessarily. It doesn't have to be Dragon Age, because that's also something I would prefer is instead of Dragon Age where you could just go and do it whenever you want at camp, but it's the same animation every time. I would like maybe two sex scenes in a game and they're both unique and different experiences. So instead of just, I don't know, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Wynn did bring up we do get one little banter moment like that when the if you bring it your partner and somebody else with you onto the dreadnought or sorry, it's always Tally and your lover onto the dreadnought, there will be a little bit of a bantery conversation there.
Yeah,
um
they exist. It's a lot rarer, I think, than Dragon Age, which
mhm.
is why they stick out. I like they're all great. I just want more. I know it's so much work. It's so much work to do all that writing and recording and animating and all that jazz, but it's so good. I just want
Well,
more.
and like your relationships with the characters are so important to these games. Like they are great stories and all of that, but the characters are what really, really make it. And so that is definitely where, the work should be put, is in building those relationships with those characters.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Oh.
I'm gonna hazard a guess that as someone who's done multiple full playthroughs, the Kaidan relationship is what brings you back each time, or relationships in general.
Well, partly, I just relationships in general, because, you know, even before I had made the dive to playing the games myself, I watched my ex play through quite a few. of or quite a lot of the first game because he played it when it first came out. And that is actually where my hatred of Ashley began, because he didn't do the thing where he went renegade or paragon like he did wishy-washy. And so she shot Rex and I was like, that bitch, done. She's
Yeah.
like, I hate her. So like there was that. But after so many years, like in between the games, and even after finishing the third game, the way they kind of put a lot of space between the DLC, it just made that relationship even longer. So in the most like lonely, loserly way that I could say this, they feel like they've become my friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes I miss them. And I re-enter that world just because I want to hang out with them and spend some more time with them. And then obviously I want to see how many different scenarios I can make by making different decisions and see how different things play out. There's always that aspect too. But mostly I just
agree.
want to hang out with them.
Yeah. No, I really agree. That was like the last time I finished it, which I don't often finish the trilogy because I'm not here for the end, like, because that makes me really sad. But, I like playing through the end of the third game anyway. Like, I'll finish the first and the second one, no problem, because it's not the end of the story. I don't
Right.
want to say goodbye to them all the time. So, but I remember the last time I actually did finish three, and I'm just sitting there crying because I'm like, I knew it was going to happen, but the music and the everything and got to me, and I'm just like, ugh. It's like when you finish a really good book, or not really movie, because you're never with people long enough in a movie to get this way, but like a video game and a book, you'll just be like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do with
It
myself because,
feels empty.
yeah. And I think that's what's so awesome about this game in particular, but games in general, is unlike a book, the words stay the same every single time. And that can be great. I love books. I still read every single day, but that's what's special about games is not only do you get to be a part of the story, but especially in an RPG, you get to write it a lot of the time too.
It's so true. And like the relationships, like I said, are so important in this game. And I was just thinking about how it actually determines my decision at the end of the trilogy as well. Like who I've romanced kind of sends me in a particular direction. Because like in my heart, like if I were to choose what I think the best option is, I do think the control ending is the right one, the right way to go. Just my personal beliefs. But when I get there and I'm like thinking about which way to go, knowing that there's a chance that Shepard will survive the renegade ending, if I'm romancing Kaidan, I feel like I owe it to him to take that option because he already watched Shepard die once. He mourned her for 2 years and then came back in these really strange, suspicious circumstances. But then they were able to rebuild it. They have that beautiful goodbye conversation, and how they both want to make it to the other side to be able to be with each other again because they feel like there was so much wasted time, and they want, they want to be together after that as well. And it's just, I cannot I cannot make any other decision. I'm like, if it sucks for, because I always think about Joker and Edie. I'm like, and all the Geth and all that. I'm like, sorry guys, sometimes one life is more important. Like
Oh no. Yeah. I mean, all you can hear is Kaidan saying, I can't lose you again. And you're like, destroy, destroy, destroy.
it's so true. Like, and like, so I know that we're not going to get into the Citadel DLC really, but it is one of my favorite lines that's shared between them the entire time. After they get back to the apartment and she tells him, that it was really hot how he came to save her, and that's all cute banter. But then, and I love how quickly they'll go from that to something serious, because there is that flirty banter. But then she says, I don't know what I'd do without you. And he says, you'll never have to. And it just, oh my
Oh my
gosh,
gosh.
every time I'm like, oh.
I haven't seen any of the Citadel scenes for him yet, so I'm gonna watch
Oh,
them after this, I guess.
They get a bad rap for being kind of boring because they're not like, a cool like bar dance situation, but
Okay, yeah, nothing tops that for me, but I have heard he cooks for you, and that is also very sexy and very important
well, like, and
in
even
real life.
like I said, I'm trying not to like get into this too much because I know you guys are going to discuss it on a later episode. But even when he's about to cook for her, she's like, "You're going to make me sit and watch you cook." He's like, "No, smartass, you're going to keep me company and help me drink beer." Just that the casualness between them, the comfortability between the two of them, like that's a conversation that I could see my husband and I having. And it's just, oh, I love them so much. I just
okay.
love them so much.
So I can do it. I have the line, the "you'll never find out" line, but I have it as a broshep, just randomly saved on my computer. Don't look at me with your questioning eyes. So I can play it if you'd like.
Definitely, because it's my favorite. It's relevant.
Nice to see you in action on the car lot. It was pretty hot.
Why, thank you.
What would I do without you?
You'll never find out.
It's so sweet.
It is. He's just so cute. I do. I just love him. And oh my gosh, and the other line, because like there is specific dialogue that you get when you visit him in the Huerta Memorial Hospital, right? The dialogue you get is different if you didn't romance someone in the second game, but you did romance him in the first game, than the dialogue you get otherwise. And one of my favorites is when she asks him, "How do we get past Horizon?" And he tells her just point blankly, he's like, "I'm not seeing anyone and I still care." And he very specifically says, "We don't need to do anything about it. I just want you to know that I still care." I'm like, oh, I'm like, me too, Kaidan. Like, I don't know.
It's so nice because every single step he like leaves it on their terms, on Shepard's terms. He's not forceful in any way. And I know that can be sexy sometimes, and that can be what someone might need or want, like in a relationship, is maybe they don't want to like instigate things. But I think it's just really nice to see an example of that, especially for a military man, because the stereotype is just not that.
It's true. But I think the difference for him is like he didn't necessarily choose the military. It kind of chose him because of his biotics. Like
Mhm.
what other path was really open to him besides crime?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I was in the military, so I know firsthand how a lot of us are like introvert nerds and not James Vega types. So, but there's still plenty of those as well. They're the
I
ones
knew
who
I knew
like,
one who
yeah,
were yeah. I've known a real life James Vega type, so who was in
me
the
too.
military. So
I know many, all from my military days. And James Vega is the least insufferable out of the ones that I know.
Yeah, I was like, I was never in the military, but I'll still flirt with you, Lola.
Oh God, I don't like him. I
I
am
know you
sad that
don't.
the only time I feel anything for him is in Citadel if he's quote unquote romanced, and then I just feel bad for him.
Yeah.
you don't even like the banter between him and Cortez.
No, I
Does it
think
make
their
you like him a
friendship
little
is
bit?
cute. I just
Yeah.
don't like the way he talks to me as a femme show. I'm just like, because I don't know. I'm bringing my own personal experiences into it. That's all. I can see why you would like him outside of my personal experiences, like if you had different ones. But I
So
don't know. He's
we'll
just,
get to this more when we do the
yeah.
Cortez romance, but I
Mhm.
actually really like how uh the relationship between Bro and Cortez and how respectful Vega is of it. And he's like when they have their little three-way date watching the basketball game or whatever, um he'll look over realize, oh, I know when I'm the third wheel, and then just like walks out.
That's cute.
It's
Cute.
cute.
Like I said, I'm not going to talk about Citadel. That's what I'd have to keep telling myself. But I love the date between Kaidan and Shepard in the Citadel.
All right. Well, I think we will wrap up the show here then, and then we can all go watch the Citadel DLC. And when we get there, maybe we'll have people. Oh, the boy in the chair. The boy in the chair. I love it. When we get to covering the Citadel romances, maybe we'll have people send in little audio clips or something like that, or maybe second interviews. Who knows? Maybe we'll just make all of 2023 Mass Effect 3 and just have like individual episodes all year long.
I have planned out games I want to talk about later on in the year. We can't skip them.
I don't want to leave the Milky Way. I'm not ready.
You'll never be ready.
We'll have to leave the Milky Way, but we still have the Andromeda Galaxy to talk about at some point. So
it's true. And there are some good ones in there.
Not as good as Kaidan.
No,
I'll give you that for sure.
Just straight up, no. I'm sorry, nobody.
Yeah, there's no contest. Unfortunately, there's so much potential in Andromeda, but that's what it remains, potential.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, always until the end of time, it's Kaidan.
Aww. You said the thing.
You said the thing.
What do you have any? Was that your last thought of Kaidan, that you'll love him until the end of time?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I'm showing off stuff that I have, but they have this coin collection, right? And in it, they even have that line where he's talking about, sometimes the way a thing goes down and how the integrity matters. And I feel like that sums him up so perfectly. That's who he is. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of honesty. And he's not afraid of his own emotions. He's not afraid to let you know where he stands. And I don't know how you don't respect someone like that. And someone who went through the childhood that he did, forcibly taken away from his parents in this, boot camp that he didn't want to be in, and and had to learn to survive, and to be that wonderful of a person and that good of an example and that caring of a person. I think it speaks a lot to his character.
Yeah. Just as perfectly said as his abs are perfectly sculpted. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's not hurting his case either.
Yeah, no. All right. Anything that you want to shout out or plug before we wrap up the show tonight?
Just if you guys are into female-fronted symphonic metal, I am the front woman for a band called Terminal Dusk. You can find us at terminalduskofficial.com. Links to all of our music and socials are on the website.
And you will also find the link to the band website in the show notes on this episode here tonight. And anything else that she wants me to put in the notes, we will make sure that it gets in there. I follow you on Spotify,
really
absolutely.
Yeah. Terminal Dusk is great.
Well, thank you guys.
Really also, just as someone who's sung karaoke with you, very intimidating. You're so great at singing, just in general.
I was like, it's not intimidating. It's amazingly fun, because I know that if I start fucking up something, Yuri's going to pick up the second mic and be my backup hype woman. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, now I can keep going.
Yeah, you aren't intimidating at all. It's self-intimidation of oh gosh, I have to sing next to her. I'm going to sound like a freaking broken car pipe or something.
No, I never want people to feel like that.
No.
Well, of course you don't, because you're the sweetest. But yeah.
I think you guys are pretty sweet too.
Aw, thanks. Oh, shucks.
All right. If you like what you are hearing, please be sure to leave a review on iTunes or give us a rating on Spotify, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can now find me on the Cyberpunk Lorecast with my co-host Toasty, where we explore the foundations of the past, the state of Night City today, and the news of the future for all things cyberpunk. And of course, in our Two Girls, One Ship channel on the Robots Radio Discord. Come give us a follow on all the social medias and on patreon.com/2girls1ship. Links to all of that and more are in the description.
I'm on the Robots Radio Discord as well, and our own Two Girls, One Ship Discord server where we nerd out on all our favorite CGI significant others. Be sure to check out our live streams on Twitch on Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Our podcast episodes release on Mondays because you need at least one good thing on a Monday.
So thanks for listening. And remember,
beauty is in the eye of the controller.
Woo! I can't believe I almost
Wynn
forgot
said
it again.
Hi, Jace.
Yeah, I know.
I saw him earlier too. Get out. I'm just kidding.
Welcome to my recording studio, aka my literal bedroom.
I mean, this is just my craft room. Like, if you look over more this way, you'll see my actual sewing machine. So,
can you teach me how to sew? I have been dicking around on my sewing machine by myself. Oh no. I still see you.
No, we're good. Okay. What?
But yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
I don't know. That was fun. I can't wait to start talking about like Citadel DLC, and then the male romance to me is a lot of fun too. But it is so different. It is kind of similar. Don't give me that scrunchy face. Oh. What?
Yeah, she was saying bye.
Oh, okay.
That's, I think, what the double wave was.
Oh.
I don't know what happened. I think something broke.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go watch Kaidan. You know what? This will make you happy. I actually liked everything I heard so much in Mass Effect 3 that I am willing to find a fan fiction of his and read it, like a romance one.
Ooh.
Like if you've romanced him. Yeah. I don't do that for very many characters. I like only read fan fictions of ones that I romanced normally.
Yeah.
Oh, she couldn't hear us. She said her computer decided sound is no longer a thing.
Okay.
That's a bummer. Well, we love you, Yuri Cat. Thank you for coming as usual. Can't wait to move to the town you live in so we can be mom friends and friends just in general.
Yes. It will be amazing. Like I'm willing the universe to like slowly move all of my friends here within driving distance. Like it's amazing.
It's working.
It is.
We'll keep willing it because maybe it'll extend out to me and my sister will move sooner too.
Oh yes, I am bringing the muffins. I need muffins here. Okay. I don't know why I'm not going to grab muffin like that. I promise. I swear to God. I was like actually thinking physical like little muffins that you can hold in your hand and
look like
eat.
You're holding a muffin right now.
I know. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're friends enough now, right, Muffin? I can touch your butt.
Probably. All right. Time to go wash my face and then watch Kaidan videos.
Yes.
I'll message you or I'll put it in the Discord what I thought of the Citadel scenes that I have not seen yet.
Okay.
Somehow. I don't know how I haven't seen them yet. I thought I've seen all the romance video stuff. Nope.
The first line so when Kaidan walks in, have you seen Kaidan's like normal Citadel date with like the not romanced? Okay. So the lines that change for the romance, he turns on the fucking smolder. And I'm like, ooh. That man's voice is dripped in honey. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait until we talk about Citadel.
I know.
Okay. All right. I am going to stop the live stream here, guys. Love you all so much. Oh, and thank you. Chat, you've been really active tonight. It is always so super appreciated. I in chat tonight, scrolling all the way back to the top. Of course, Yuri and Sandstrubot, much appreciated. Win, again, thank you for the resub. Sadie Cakes, I saw you earlier today in N7 stream and kind of giggled in the car. They went to mid break while doing or recording the Mass Effect lorecast, and they're like, Tom's like, and now we're gonna head into a mid break, and Sadie was like, it's time for the mid break dance, and then was like, oh wait, no, wrong podcast. I was like, yes.
That's cute.
Bat
catching
Night,
on.
hello. It is. It's very much catching on. And Muffiny Cake. And I think I said everybody's name who talked today.
You
No
didn't
Apollo.
say my name.
I
know
did
no
say V.
Apollo. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Thanks to me.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
hey,
message
look, I was in
Apollo.
here too.
I noticed he wasn't watching, and I wondered where he was. Probably at a concert. It's every single
Probably.
time he's missed our streams is because he was at a concert.
Yeah. All right. I think that's everybody. Okay, good night. Goodbye.